Hey everyone, and welcome back. I have to tell you, for the longest time, I thought I knew the Lord's Prayer. I mean, who doesn't, right? It's one of the first things you learn in Sunday school. It's comforting, familiar. We've all rattled it off, probably thousands of times, sometimes without even thinking. It was like a spiritual happy birthday song. You know the words, but you've never really thought about what they mean. But a few years ago, something happened that blew my mind and changed everything. I was doing a deep dive into some ancient texts, trying to find a deeper connection, something beyond the rote recitations and the polished sermons. I was feeling this ache, this whisper inside me, that there had to be more to my faith than just going through the motions. And that's when I stumbled upon something truly wild, something that recontextualized everything I thought I knew about Jesus. I found a group of scholars, spiritual detectives really, who weren't just reading the English Bible. They were going back to the very roots, to the Aramaic, the language Jesus himself spoke. And as they started decoding the Lord's Prayer, it was like they were peeling back layers of paint on a priceless masterpiece, revealing the vibrant, powerful original beneath. I remember the first thing they said, and it stopped me cold. They said, "The Lord's Prayer isn't just a prayer, it's a spiritual technology." Wow, right? I had to rewind it a few times just to process that. A technology? I always thought of it as a plea, a request. But they said every single line is a code, a hidden map, not to some distant heaven after you die, but to a kingdom within you right now. This wasn't about chanting a spell. Jesus wasn't saying, here's what to say. He was saying, pray like this. Because this prayer, this incredible blueprint, wasn't meant to be recited. It was meant to awaken you. And when I heard that, something inside me just clicked. It was like a memory I didn't know I had was surfacing. If you've ever felt like there was more to life, if those words gave you chills, but the church sometimes gave you silence, then you're not just curious, my friend. You're remembering. So I want you to go on this journey with me as we start to decode this sacred prayer together. We're going to strip away the doctrine, the memorized script, and get back to the first breath of this prayer, the one you've likely said your whole life, but maybe never truly felt. The first words, Our Father who art in heaven. Now don't skip past that line. That one sentence, that simple introduction, holds more power than most people will ever realize. They said it's not an introduction at all, but an activation. And the first word is the key, our. Think about that. Not my, not thee, but our. The moment those words leave your mouth, something happens. The ego starts to dissolve. You stop praying as a separate self, a lonely individual trying to reach a distant God, and you start praying as part of something larger. You're part of a hidden communion of souls, all reaching toward the same light. You're not alone in this. You never were. You're stepping back into the forgotten, yet remembered family of the divine. This is the truth that has been whispered for centuries, but so often misunderstood. And then comes the second word, the one that got so mistranslated and misunderstood, Father. Now, before your mind goes to the image of a man with a long white beard on a throne in the sky, let's go back to the source. Jesus didn't speak English. The word he used was abwun. It's one word that carried multiple layers of meaning. Father, yes, but also mother, source, womb, breather of life. So when Jesus said this line, he wasn't saying, dear man in the sky. He was saying, beloved source from whom everything is born. Oh man, that hit me like a ton of bricks. It means you didn't come from a mistake. You didn't begin in shame. You're not some fallen creature clawing your way back to worthiness. You came from Abun, from divine breath, divine intelligence, divine intention. In that one word, he's reminding you who you really are. A spark from the source. Not an orphan trying to behave your way back into love, but a child of the infinite, already cradled in it. The church, bless their hearts, made this prayer a performance. But Jesus, in his infinite wisdom, made it a return. And then he says something even wilder. Who art in heaven? Most people stop here, imagining clouds, gold gates, some distant reward for those who behave well. But Jesus never pointed up. Not once. He said the kingdom of God is within you. So when he says, who art in heaven, he isn't talking about a location. He's talking about a dimension. Heaven isn't up there. It's right here, in here. It's the sacred space inside you that still remembers God. the untouched place, the garden beneath all the noise, the part of you that was never wounded. When you say, Our Father, who art in heaven, you're not trying to reach someone far away. You are calling back the part of you that already knows, the part of you that never stopped being holy. The real power comes when you stop saying the line from your throat and you start saying it from the memory of your soul. This isn't just a greeting, it's a remembering. You're waking up from the lie of separation. You are not a sinner begging for mercy. You are a soul remembering its divine lineage. So next time you whisper that line, don't repeat it like a child hoping to be heard. Say it like someone who remembers where they came from. Say it like someone who knows. Heaven is not later. It's not elsewhere. It's inside you, and it's been waiting. And that brings us to the next line. That's where the prayer shifts. Jesus gives us a vibration, a name, a frequency, one the church has translated as holy. But it's something far more powerful than that. And when you speak it the right way, it doesn't just honor God, it begins to activate you. If this is blowing your mind right now, do me a favor and click that subscribe button. We're just scratching the surface, and I've got so much more to share with you. I promise the further we go down this rabbit hole, the more you're going to feel the presence of Jesus in a way you never thought possible. Wow. Just wow. Okay, I'm ready if you are. Let's go there next. All right, so we've just decoded the first line of the Lord's Prayer, and I hope it's already got you buzzing with that feeling of remembrance. Now, let's step into what comes next. Because if the first line was an activation, then this next one is the doorway itself. It's the most ancient, sacred, and frankly, misunderstood part of this entire blueprint. Hallowed be thy name. For most of our lives, we've treated this line like a poetic little add-on, something you whisper in church while the organ's playing. But Jesus wasn't being poetic here. He was revealing a code. He wasn't just saying, respect God's name. He was telling us that the name itself is the doorway, a living, breathing frequency. And here's the key. This is a real goosebumps moment for me when I learned this. The name of God in the original Hebrew tradition wasn't even fully pronounceable in the way we understand language. It was 4 letters. Yod, He, Vav, Yoch, Vioch. It wasn't a word. It wasn't a title. It was a vibration, a breath. It was so sacred, so holy, that the high priests wouldn't even say it aloud, not even to themselves, because it wasn't made of consonants and vowels, but of being. It was the pulse behind creation, the sacred exhale that birthed the galaxies. It was the whisper in the wind before a time even had a name. And Jesus, oh, Jesus knew this intimately. So when he said, hallowed be thy name, he wasn't talking about some distant title you write on a scroll. He was saying, let the vibration of God's presence be awakened in you again. The tragedy, my friends, is that religion turned this name into a weapon, into something forbidden, untouchable, guarded by doctrine and fear. But Jesus came to put it back into your lungs, back into your bones, back into your ordinary life. He wanted you to not just speak the name, but to embody it. Think about that. Every inhale you've ever taken, every exhale you've ever released was unknowingly saying it. Yeah, Vav. Heh, my goodness. Every living being is saying the name of God without even realizing it. That's how close God is. Closer than your own thoughts. Before you speak, he already breathed into you. You are carved from his breath. That's what Jesus meant. Hallowed be thy name isn't passive reverence. It's a spiritual rebellion, a reawakening of the divine name within you. It's a call to remember what was stolen, to return to what you carry in your very lungs. So when you whisper this line, don't just say it like a robot. Feel it. Pause. Let your own breath become the temple. Jesus wasn't pointing up, he was pointing in. Now, if that feels powerful, get ready, because the next line holds what I believe is the most dangerous phrase ever spoken. One that terrified empires. One that the church tried to tame because it didn't just reveal God's will, it revealed yours. And if you truly understood what it meant, you wouldn't just say it, you would unleash it. Ready? Let's go into the next code. Thy kingdom come. You've said it 100, maybe 1,000 times. But have you ever stopped, truly stopped, to ask, where is this kingdom? What is it? And why did Jesus say to call it forth rather than wait to enter it? This line isn't about waiting to die and floating away to some golden place in the sky. It's not about pearly gates or harps. This line is the heartbeat of Jesus' entire teaching. It's the thunder beneath everything he said, because the kingdom isn't up there. It's not later, it's here. It's now. The kingdom is within you. He said it plainly. Not in temples, not in churches, not in rituals or robes. It's already inside, coded into your very being. And this line is the activation command. When you say, "Thy kingdom come," you're not begging heaven to rescue you. You are summoning the divine blueprint back into your body, your breath, your decisions, your day. It's a sacred revolt against the false world, a remembrance of what's real. Because here's a truth no one told you in Sunday school. The world you live in right now, the chaos, the corruption, the soul-numbing routine, is not the kingdom. It's the counterfeit, the fake empire that rose up while we forgot who we were. But when Jesus taught this line, he wasn't speaking to a crowd of helpless sinners. He was speaking to awakening kings, to queens in exile, to those who had forgotten their crown. This line isn't just a request, it's a declaration. It's the real you standing up inside the false you and saying, "No more sleep, no more exile. The kingdom is coming through me." Because that's how it works. It doesn't drop from the sky. It arrives through the awakened one, through the soul who says, "I'm done waiting. I'm done wandering. Let heaven break in right here, right now." And here's where it gets deeper. When you say, "Thy kingdom come," you're not only calling for a new world, you're agreeing to become the vessel through which that new world emerges. That's why this line scared religious powers. Because it doesn't just speak to God's dominion, it speaks to your divine assignment. You are the landing pad. You are the bridge. You are the portal through which the kingdom returns. And the moment you truly mean this line, not just recite it, but burn it into your bones, the illusions around you will start to tremble because the old empire can't survive once the kingdom starts coming through you. You may feel the resistance. People may call you extreme, lost, or even dangerous. But that's how you know it's working. That's how you know you were born to bring the kingdom. You, not just Jesus, not just prophets or saints. You. And here's the real secret they never told you. The kingdom doesn't come by force. It comes through alignment. When your inner world reflects heaven, peace, clarity, truth, divine will, then your outer world begins to reshape around it. Heaven isn't a destination. It's a frequency. It's a mirror. You don't just enter it, you become it. And when you do, everything changes. Not always instantly, not always comfortably, but with every breath aligned to that kingdom, you become a walking Eden. You become the proof that the divine never left, because now it lives in you. And just before we move on to the next section, there's one more mystery here. The line doesn't say, "The kingdom come to me." It just says, "Thy kingdom come." Because it was never about receiving something from outside. It was about unleashing what was already inside. And that, my friend, is what makes you so dangerous to the old world. You're not here to escape Earth. You're here to restore it. If you're still with me, it means the code is alive in you. Most people scroll past something this deep, but you stayed, not out of curiosity, out of memory. Something inside you is surfacing. Not new, just forgotten. If you feel it, if this is all making sense, I want to invite you to click that subscribe button. It's not just to follow me, it's to hold the line, to stay tethered to this path of awakening. Unbelievable, just unbelievable. Welcome back, my friends. I hope the last section left you with a sense of purpose and power you never knew you had. We've talked about how the Lord's Prayer is a blueprint for activating the divine kingdom within you, and how you are the vessel through which that kingdom returns to earth. But now we come to the part that brings it all home. The part that reveals how this isn't just about faith, but about action and embodiment. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. For centuries, this line was preached as a form of surrender to fate, as if God was some distant king and you were just a lowly servant, a puppet awaiting orders. People were taught to accept suffering, tragedy, pain, even oppression as God's mysterious plan. But I'm here to tell you, with every fiber of my being, that this is not what Jesus meant. He wasn't teaching blind submission. He was teaching sacred alignment. The Aramaic word Jesus used for will wasn't what we think of as a rigid command. It was shiana, a word that means sacred desire, deep creative intention, the impulse of the divine to express and become. So what if this line was never meant to make you small, but to awaken the divine longing inside you? Thy will be done is not about getting out of the way. It's about becoming the way. It's about letting the intention of the divine move through you, shape you, express through you. And then comes the most misinterpreted phrase in the entire prayer: on earth as it is in heaven. We hear that and picture clouds and golden gates. But Jesus wasn't talking about a place you go when you die. He was talking about a realm you bring forth while you live. Heaven to him was not a location. It was a state of being, a condition of soul alignment. So when he said, on earth as it is in heaven, he was giving you a blueprint. He was saying, what is whole in the spirit must become whole in the body. What is divine in the heavens must be born through your hands, your words, your relationships, your daily breath. He was not praying for an escape. He was praying for embodiment. And that flips everything upside down. You were not born to flee this world and wait for a rescue. You were born to transfigure it, to make earth reflect heaven, to become a walking tabernacle where the sacred dimension touches down. You are the landing site. This is the ultimate expression of faith. Not waiting, but becoming. Not begging, but bringing. And that kind of becoming requires fuel, a hidden nourishment. Because the next line in the prayer isn't about bread from a bakery. Give us this day our daily bread isn't a daily grocery list for God. Something much deeper is encoded here. Jesus was speaking not to the body, but to the inner man, the real you. And that word daily isn't what we think. In the original Greek, it's a strange, almost untranslatable word, epiousios. It doesn't mean daily, as in today. It literally means super essential or beyond the physical. This wasn't about God handing you a sandwich. It was about you learning to receive the frequency of heaven, moment by moment. He was saying, every day you wake up, return to presence. Don't just eat, commune. Don't just survive. Remember. You see, you are not just the one receiving the bread. You are being called to become it. I am the bread of life, Jesus said. He wasn't pointing to food. He was pointing to a frequency, a way of being so whole, so radiant in God, that your very presence becomes nourishment to those around you. The world is starving, not for food, but for light, for clarity, for wholeness. And you, who are waking up, are the answer, hidden in plain sight. But there's a reason most people can't receive this bread, a reason they stay starving no matter how much they pray. Because something blocks the flow, something ancient, unresolved, a debt. And that brings us to the next line. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. This isn't a polite moral lesson. It is a mystical key, a coded reversal of gravity itself. Because when you hold on to their debt, you hold on to your own. God isn't the one keeping score. You are. Every grudge is a chain. Every story where you're still the victim keeps your soul kneeling before the same locked door. To forgive is not to forget. It's choosing to no longer bleed for a wound you didn't cause. It's the only way out. Forgiveness is not just love. It's freedom. It's resurrection. And finally, we face the great confrontation. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Temptation isn't just about avoiding sin. It's about surviving false light. The real temptation isn't in the shadows. It's in the brilliance that blinds. It comes as a shortcut, as your own voice saying, you've suffered enough. Just take the crown. Jesus resisted the easy way out. The enemy offered him the kingdoms of the world, instant glory. He refused, not because the kingdoms were evil, but because the timing was off. The crown without the cross is always counterfeit. This line is a code, a declaration. God, lead me not into the temptations that confuse ego for destiny. Lead me not into the glittering lie. This is your permission to endure, not escape. It's a cry of the soul that remembers, I don't need a throne built by fear or lust. I want a throne built on truth. And deliver us from evil? This is not a plea for safety. It's a summons. Because evil isn't just violence. In the ancient tongue, it's poneros, meaning the toil bringer, the burden that crushes the soul. It's the thing that keeps you enslaved to loops, to fear, to punishment cycles, so old you think they're part of your personality. This evil isn't out there. It's the wound that whispers, you're not worthy. It's the inner captor that uses your own voice against you. When Jesus says, deliver us from evil, he's teaching us to recognize the parasite, the false identity that was born the day you were broken and learned to wear a mask just to survive. Deliver us is not passive. It is a ripping, a casting out, a violent reclamation of the soul. It's the moment you say, I remember who I am and I reject the name that pain gave me. I renounce the identity that trauma built for me. You are not your trauma. You are not your shadow. You are the one who came to end them. This wasn't just a video, it was a key, and you didn't stumble into it. You followed a pull you couldn't explain. The truth you've been seeking is inside you. All of it, waiting, and now you remember. My goodness, what a journey. If this cracked something open for you, I want you to do two things. First, click the like button right now. Not for me, but as a sacred response. Your way of saying, I heard the call, now I remember. And then, if you haven't already, click that subscribe button because every video we release is a part of this unfolding journey. Your presence here shapes what comes next. And if you're ready to walk with others who carry the same ache, find the link to our private community in the description. Don't click lightly. Click as a step, as a vow, as a yes. This moment is a crossroads. One path leads back to sleep. The other leads straight into the fire of remembrance. You already know which one is yours. Go with peace, my friend.